Okay, so I will pick one class which is legal English because my background is law, I'm a lawyer, and it's probably my most difficult class. And I want my students to know that legal English is almost a separate language. As you could imagine, you're going to learn new vocabulary. You're going to learn specific terms that have a legal context. But at the same time, you probably also know that you cannot learn a language without learning also the culture and way of thinking. Words are not just dead and dry things. They come from a certain mentality. So I also ask students to read articles written by lawyers and legal thinkers so that they can understand the thinking behind the usage of the words. And that's why this class is so difficult. You're learning a new language contained within English, but it's highly specialized, legal English. And you're also learning a different way of thinking. And that way of thinking focuses on advancing an argument. And when I say argument, I mean your opinion or the point that you want to make to your listener. And then you have to support your argument with evidence. And basically, I use that structure in all of my classes, but it's really focused and refined in legal English because you're applying that special use of words. So during this class, you're going to learn these words, you're going to read texts that deal with legal thinking to help you understand how the words are used and the way of thought behind them. And then you'll be able to look at some fact sets. These are how the exams are based. And you will look at a situation, whether it's in contract law or the law of torts or the law of property or some other area of law. You will look at a set of facts, some things that happened in the world, and then you will explain the legal circumstances of those facts and what kinds of cases can be brought, what kinds of arguments can be made by the plaintiff or the prosecutor or the defendant. You will discuss liability and things like that. So that's the way that you will show what you learned and whether you've mastered legal thought at the level you've been asked to for this class, and whether you're able to apply the words correctly within a specific legal context. So that's the basis of the legal English class, and that's the hardest of the classes. It requires the most precision in what you learn. So you'll basically learn it'll be an introduction to how to think like a lawyer. So I think this is one of the highest levels of English language. Like if you're an English language major, this legal English is going to help you whether you go into law and become a lawyer or whether you go into business, because there's no aspect of business where you don't have to think about law and legal questions. And also whether you go into government service, you still have to think about law. So if you deal with English in any professional capacity, it's a very strong advantage for you to understand legal English. It will empower you tremendously. And even if you don't do that, even if you never use English in your job, you've learned a new way of thinking that's also very powerful. That can be used in any language because it's a type of thinking manner that you can apply when you need it to look at a set of facts and to take what would otherwise seem like chaos and to organize it. And then to be able to prepare your argument or your statement about that and to be able to support it and find evidence and logical proofs. So it's a way of structuring your language around logic and reasoning. Right, so in all of my classes, I'm focusing on critical thinking skills. And so I want you to be able to think in English. I don't want you to have to translate in your mind.
Right.
It happens to everybody when they learn another language until they become comfortable with that other language. And so from my own experience learning languages, once you're capable of dreaming in that other language, I think you've broken through to the place where you can start thinking in a language. So my classes will force you to think, because if you don't think in that language, you can't use the words correctly and quickly when you need them on your command, and you'll get behind in conversations, and then you'll lose your confidence and your sense of balance. So you're going to have your native language mind, but you'll have another mind for each language that you know. And your way of thinking has to change too, because as you know, because culture and language are absolutely connected, then you need to change your operating systems. So my classes help you to do that. There's usually a lot of reading. I like to have flipped learning styles in my classroom, which means that you learn outside. You do a lot of reading, you prepare your answers, and then when we come to class, we're communicating. We're doing a lot of question and answer and group discussion. So usually I might give a couple of lectures at the beginning of the semesters where I try to set up how the class works, what we're going to be learning about, how we're going to approach our class procedures and so on, and maybe give some basic knowledge that we're going to be using throughout the semester. But from then on, my lectures are actually replaced by the study guide questions that I give you to think about at home and to interact with a text or a video that I ask you to watch at home. And then when you come to class, we're there to actually engage with the content by speaking and communicating and question and answering and discussing and debating. I think this department is the best professional preparation for people using English because our faculty, there are a lot of people, of course we have people with strictly academic backgrounds in the language and translation and interpretation, which is very important, but we also have people with a lot of professional experience in law or business in our department who can bring that real world experience to our students who want to use their English, as I said before, in law or business or international conferences or in academics or in government service, something like that. So I think this language program that we have and the type of content that we teach in our English is suitable for people who want careers, who want to use English in their professions when they graduate and when they go on. So I think that's what distinguishes our class in EICC. Other departments, I think, for example, like a literature department could prepare you well to be a professor. So if you want an academic background, of course, your English will improve generally, but the focus of the content is on literature. So I think there's a narrower focus there. Or linguistics, it's the same thing. You want to be a linguist, you want to be a professor, or you want to teach English language, that may be helpful for you. They're focused on more academic topics. So I think our department, it includes academic backgrounds like translation and interpretation theory, which is very helpful in an academic sphere and also in a professional sphere. We also include a lot of professional topics. So I think that's the distinguishing advantage of EICC. Okay, thank you.